Hello and welcome back to Well Played. I'm Caroline Hindertalk.
And I'm Blakely Merwin-Hendy. We're in the studio. It's, I don't know what time. Sean's covering the clock.
It's too early.
It's early.
Yeah.
And we have a lot to talk about today.
We do. And I know we say that every single week.
No, but this week it's actually true because we've got WNBA, we have NWSL,
Yep.
playoffs and finals. We've got some NBA.
Yes.
And of course NFL. But the NFL is not even the chunk of our show this week.
I know, which is
remarkable.
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
Usually that's our bread and butter.
Yes, and we also have, obviously our Send It moments we want you to send to your group chat this week. But also, I just want to really quickly plug the fact that last week on our show, we did a segment on Brianna Chicken Fry.
Yes, we did.
And
the Boston Bruins.
And the Boston Bruins supporting her in her whole debacle with
Which they had to take down the TikTok.
Right.
We're not saying that there was a cease and desist send, but maybe there was.
We're not saying that either.
Exactly.
But I want to draw attention to the fact that our delightful, delicious social team over at The Skim posted this segment on our Instagram, and it hit 1 million views.
Yep.
Crazy. But I checked our notifications this morning, and Usain Bolt liked our freaking post.
Casual.
And it's like crazy to think that, like, even I don't know how much of the reel this man consumed, but for at least a split second, he knew.
He double tapped.
Yeah, he double tapped.
Yep.
He saw our name and likeness.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't see our name, but he knew about us. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, he at least saw our faces.
Yeah.
So essentially, we're famous.
Yeah. I don't know.
So sorry if we're too big for you now.
Yeah. We still want you in the club, though.
Of course, of course. Oh, I also received the loveliest DM from Ellen.
Yes.
She's my new favorite human on the planet. She was so sweet. She was just like, I look forward to the podcast every week. And also my husband looks forward to the podcast because now we get to talk about sports and we didn't get to do that before.
Aww.
And I, as the emotional wreck that I am always, I teared up.
Oh,
I did.
Well, you
It
were
was
really
really
bringing couples closer together.
What can I say? Maybe I should go into couples counseling. I would be so bad at
That's
that.
a reach.
I would be so bad at that.
That is a reach.
Yeah, okay. Just kidding. But yeah, so anyways, loved to hear that. Loved to get the DM from a very sweet, sweet Ellen. So yeah, hope you guys are enjoying the pod. And if not, make sure you're checking us out on YouTube because we have full length episodes there. And search for Well Played. You can just search for Well Played by The Skim on YouTube. If you prefer to listen, make sure you're following us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Yeah. You will miss out on some cool outfits, but it's your loss. It's
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry.
But before we dive into the topics, where can we follow you, Caroline?
Oh, at CG Hendy. Blake, go.
BLAAA 4Ks E.
That was good. Are you still workshopping your username?
Yeah, I actually put it in my bio. It was like, I'm accepting username pitches. Wait, guys, I didn't tell you this.
Sean is shaking his head.
He is, but listen, I got
So-
actually someone who doesn't even follow me. I don't know how they found me. She must have found me through the podcast and just looked me up but didn't want to follow. That's fine too. You know how to follow me.
She's not mad.
I wouldn't want to follow me either. But she submitted 2 username suggestions, and one was like, she said, hot takes Blake. But I was
Ooh.
like, I think my takes aren't hot enough to say that. Like
I
I
would
wouldn't
say they're
be. I
like-
cannot claim that.
I would say they're lukewarm.
Yeah,
usually.
I can get to hot, but
Yeah.
not always.
Okay.
And then the other one was Breakaway.
Ooh.
Like Breakaway. But then I thought of the song Breakaway by Kelly
I was
Clarkson.
literally just about to say that.
Deep cut. Not everyone knows that one.
I'm not singing again.
That was in Princess Diaries too, which actually we're going to kind of touch on in this
Oh,
episode.
yeah, you're right. We are.
I'm going to keep that one for later. But
Yeah.
anyway, maybe we can move on. We can dive into the topics.
Yeah, okay. But anyways, Blake is accepting username workshop ideas.
Pitches, please.
Yes, any pitches. Haven't felt the right one yet.
No.
But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yes.
Okay, as always, we've prepared a roundup of our favorite stories dominating your feeds this week. It's time for Playing the Field. We're starting this edition of Playing the Field with what was most likely the most watched sporting event of the year outside the Super Bowl. And of course,
Crazy.
I am talking about Mike Tyson's return to the ring when he took on YouTuber. That's a crazy sentence. Jake Paul, Friday night on Netflix.
Yeah, according to these numbers that were released over the weekend, the fight set records for Netflix with over 60 million households tuned into the fight, which is so crazy.
That's insane.
Also, it was like 4 hours. I mean, the fight itself wasn't 4 hours long.
Right.
But I went back and watched, and I noticed that the whole thing was 4 hours, and I was like, who the hell? Well, you sat and watched, right? We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
But before,
I can't.
but before that, I mean, we can't talk about this without talking about the streaming issues that
yeah.
Netflix was facing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, widespread buffering issues, and it rendered the stream unwatchable for many viewers. Did you notice any issues with the stream when you were watching?
Yes, I did. For the most part, we were actually fine.
Can you also set the scene, please?
Okay.
So you're in your apartment, yes?
Yes.
With Scott.
With Scott.
Any friends?
Actually, his brother did come over.
Okay.
Okay, here's the thing. Once again, I'm not cool. We know that. I love staying in on the weekends. Like, it is my pride and joy. So I was like, I'm going to make a pasta bake. I make this French onion pasta bake.
Ooh.
It's to die for. I'll send you the recipe.
Please.
And I was like, we're going to make it. We're going to stay in, drink some wine. We'll watch some good TV. And then Scott was like, well, the fight's on. We should watch it. And I was like, oh, right. Forgot about that. The fight.
He doesn't forget.
No, he does not. So his brother came over. We turned it on. There were like 3 fights beforehand, which, okay, I'm obviously not familiar with fighting. Didn't know that was a thing. And then, like, I'm just not a fight person. Like,
she's a lover, not a fighter.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I don't know what it is about actual, like, boxing. But boxing movies, don't like them. Watching actual boxing, don't like it. UFC, don't like it. I think it's just too violent. And I'm like, oh, that looks really painful. And there's always just a lot of blood and like broken noses and just like gashes. Yeah. It's not my vibe. So we started watching it and then I was like, oh, we have to wait this long? And I was like, okay, sure, I'll wait. So we kept flipping back and forth. It was mostly fine, the streaming wise. For it, Scott's brother left at like 10 o'clock because he was like, I'm going to bed.
He's tapped out.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. And then I forget what time like they actually came on the screen, but I was in bed, if that gives you any.
It was late, I feel like.
It was like definitely past 11, which is way past my bedtime, even on the weekends. And by the time they started, I think I saw 1 round and I quite literally was put to sleep. Like, I could not stay awake.
Were you put to sleep because you were tired or because it was boring?
Both. Ooh. See, all of the above. I think mostly too because it was boring. Like, I think like obviously there was a lot of hype going into it. I was looking at some social media clips of Mike Tyson in his heyday. And then you looked at the fight, and it was just like it was so different.
Yeah.
He just could not move in that same
stumbling.
way. Yeah. And I do believe it was rigged. I'm going to say it. I think it was seen. I think there was a way that this was supposed to go. And I think that.
I think a lot of people are in agreement with
you. It just seemed a little too convenient that everything worked out the way that
also,
it was supposed
like,
to.
just the conditions of the fight itself. It was like 2-minute rounds, which I don't think is typical. The gloves that they were using
were
had
heavier,
more,
right?
They just like had more, I think, cushion, so it didn't hurt as bad.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's just like, and also, from what I've researched, Jake Paul only fights people who are.
He's very strategic. I heard that in the pregame.
Like, you can't. I'm sorry. He's fighting people who are like 10 years older than him.
Yeah.
Mostly, I think there was like one time, I forget his name, when he fought someone who was like actually like in his age demographic. But it's like, it's just not a fair fight for him most of the time.
Yeah, it's also just like, what are we doing? Oh, also, oh my God, I almost glossed over one of the biggest details. Obviously, it took place at AT&T Stadium, right? The curtains were up. They were covering the window, and guess what? The fight was at night.
Can you remind people what AT? Like we talked about. Actually, we talked about the stadium.
The Cowboys play. The infamous scene of the crime where CeeDee Lamb could not catch the football in the end zone because he was blinded by the light. And would you look at that? The curtains were up, and the fight was at night. So I'm just saying, there's curtains there. Maybe they should use them.
I mean, look, if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah. Oh, we also almost glossed over the insane thing because so obviously the event itself was Cheeks, right? But like there were also other Cheeks that we witnessed.
Literal ones in this
Mike
case.
Tyson was being interviewed on camera, and then as he walked away, both butt cheeks, just full display. I didn't know, like, is that normally part of what boxers wear? And then they like it because it was like that thick belt. I always just thought that they're shorts.
I mean, they're basically assless chaps.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I thought like that big, like the thick waistband. I always thought that was just part of the shorts. I think that was the thing that he was wearing, and then they put shorts on top of that.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know either. I don't watch.
We're gonna need a fact check on that one.
But it seems like that was the thing, and also the cameraman knew what he was doing.
Oh my God, it was like comedically timed.
Yeah,
he had that 1 second shot.
Scott actually lost his mind. Scott was losing his mind.
Wait, were you guys watching? That was live.
That was live. And then I immediately went to Twitter, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, we just saw Mike Tyson's full butt cheeks.
They were forced upon him. He was double cheeked up
Double-cheeked.
on a Tuesday afternoon. But also,
Exactly.
like, I don't know. Did you watch was that the weigh-in where he slapped the shit out of
Yes.
I loved the weigh-in. First of all, Mike Tyson gets on the scale. He immediately starts tugging on his junk.
Oh yeah, that was too much.
I was like, why do you
What
got
are
to do all
doing?
that?
Also, you're old, sir.
Yes,
Please.
enough, please. And then once he slaps Jake Paul,
Because he stepped on his toe, right?
I don't even know why. I mean, it was all a spectacle. Let's be real.
Can we imagine if a woman was that reactive
Oh my God.
when someone steps on their toe? Let me just slap you across the face.
No, all hell would break loose. The fight would get canceled.
You know, okay, obviously I've never gotten in a physical fight with anyone because I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Right.
Except for my sister. That doesn't count. But my brother did one time. I was so angry at him. I don't remember what he was doing when we were growing up. I did slap him across the face. And we both paused, fully like shocked what happened. I was shocked that I did it. He was shocked that it happened. And then he so calmly was like, I'm going to kill you. And I was like... ran away. My dad came in and saved the day.
Dude, my brother has done similar shit to me.
Yeah.
Our brothers are sick in the head.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Makes sense. But yeah, that slap was heard around the world.
I just loved how like the girlies who, you know, they usually parade the signs throughout the ring. They were just like standing there smiling as they're just going at each other and Mike Tyson's losing his shit. Did you also see that interview of him with this like 13-year-old girl?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, it was so funny. This little girl is just like having such an earnest interview with Mike Tyson, and he's just not having it. She's like, so what do you want your legacy to be? Or I don't even know what the question was, but she was asking about his legacy, and he's just like, goes on a minute rant about how he's like, I don't think about my legacy. It literally doesn't matter. We're just dust waiting to die, basically. He like goes on this nihilistic rant.
Very
and then
existential.
and at the end she's just like, you know, I don't think I've ever heard that before, but thanks for answering. She's like, I don't know what the fuck you want me to say to that.
Oh,
I don't know how to respond to that.
girly. Oh man. Okay. Well, yeah. So there was a lot of things that happened in the fight, but I mean, there was like a lot that happened, and at the same time, not a lot that happened.
Yeah.
You know. So
Kind of a snooze fest for me.
yeah, we'll see what the next big fight is. But I will say that Netflix does have Christmas Day games for the NFL, and they got to figure out those.
Well, this is a good
streaming
segue
issues.
into our next topic.
Would you look at that?
Good job, Caro. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God. Okay, so speaking of major sporting events streaming on Netflix, I mean, you must have heard.
Yes.
Beyonce,
The
Queen
girl.
Bee, she signed on to perform at the halftime show during this year's first of its kind Christmas Netflix NFL doubleheader. She announced it with this cool trailer. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I got the chills as I was watching. So yeah, she just announced that yesterday that she'll be playing during the Texans Ravens game, excuse me. And she's this is like going to be her first time performing any songs probably from Cowboy Carter, which came out in March.
Yeah.
Do you have any songs you would like Miss Beyonce to sing?
Well, here's the thing. Obviously, Dolly Parton is featured on the album. Willie Nelson's featured on the album. Shaboozie's featured on the album.
Miley too.
And yes, and Miley. Sorry, not to leave them out. But those three specifically are like country staples,
Right.
you know? And like Texas-centric.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, if those three aren't there, I will be somewhat disappointed.
I see.
And I also think that this is going to be really hard to top for the Super Bowl halftime show because A, it's Beyonce. She puts on a freaking production when she goes on stage. So I just think it's going to be really, really well done. I would love to see all three of them make some little guest appearances.
I'll be impressed if that happens.
I
I
would love
don't
it.
think it's going to happen.
I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but that's my dream.
That's what Caroline
Yeah.
wants.
But I will be mostly focused on the outfits. I think it's going to be
think there's gonna be,
electric
like-
outfits by Beyonce.
Costume changes.
Oh, for sure.
How long do you think it's going to be? How long is the Super Bowl halftime show? I should know
I
this.
feel like the Super Bowl halftime show is like pretty decent. Like,
Yeah.
like 20 minutes maybe?
I know. I mean, like, I know it's Kendrick Lamar this year, and I
Yeah.
do love Kendrick. Actually, fun fact to add to my lore, actually, I met Kendrick Lamar's tour manager because she also, I don't know how much
What
attention
the hell
I
is
want to
your
get.
life? You just like drop these bombs casually.
Yeah, this is
no
honestly,
idea.
this anecdote is purely for swag points. It doesn't really
Okay.
add that much to the story, but I did meet her, and she was just, because she's also Diplo's tour manager, and that's how I met her, because
of
my
course.
boyfriend is friends with Diplo's tour manager. Like, he has multiple, and so we got to go backstage at a Diplo show. We went on stage with him at the Brooklyn Mirage. But so I was talking to her, and I was like, so like, do you get excited about Diplo shows? And she's like, honestly, no. Like, this kind of sucks, but I do get excited about working for Kendrick, and we are already, and this is like 2 months ago. She's like, we're already working on his halftime show.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, T.
You heard it here first. So it's probably done by now, and they probably just like
It's gonna be
cleaning it up.
great. Like, I'm not saying that it's gonna be
Right.
bad.
No, I agree.
I
But
just think that like Beyonce,
I mean, an American sweetheart. Also, like in Houston, she's
Yep.
from Texas.
I know. It's her.
They did it right.
It's her country album. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
I would like to hear. I think she'll definitely play like American Requiem. I want to hear her sing Bodyguard because I love that song. Will get me in a good
I
mood.
do love Bodyguard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just,
Texas Hold'em, obviously.
Yeah. But just imagine if Shabuzi was like singing a bar song with Beyonce.
Okay.
I would lose my mind.
You would.
Yeah, I freaking love a bar song. It's so catchy.
I haven't listened to that one. Size
Even Sean
in the studio, ladies and
even
gentlemen.
Sean like sighed, and he hadn't heard. What was the song you hadn't heard?
What hadn't I heard?
Oh, the Morgan Wallen song. You hadn't heard that one from last week.
Yeah, I'm not that tapped into the country world.
No, I'm
gonna
not
lie,
singing it
guys.
again. Stop it. Go away. I hate. I got so many comments about.
I'm waiting
like,
for other. I'm
singing.
looking for other opportunities. Honestly, I should have asked you to sing it.
You should have missed opportunity. You can't do it now. So, anyways, do we think that people will have a hard time streaming? Because I don't think that like the average Christmas Day game is going to, not average, but the Christmas Day games are going to attract a lot of viewers. Also because there's NBA on, people have other
True.
Christmas traditions. So like, I don't think it's going to be that big, but I do think that people will tune in for halftime.
No, they will, because you're also getting like NFL fans.
Yep.
Plus
Beyonce
the
fans.
Beehive.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I wonder if it could even. No, I don't know if it would top the 60 million that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson saw. It would be really cool if they did.
It would be,
But I think you're right. Maybe
Yeah.
hopefully less problems, but also like Beyonce would not accept streaming issues, so they're gonna figure it out beforehand.
She's probably, like,
solely because
figures
she's
this
gonna, otherwise she's
stuff
gonna
out.
hold a gun to their head. She's gonna say, "Fix it, fix the goddamn streaming issues, or it's cooked. We're not doing it."
Is she?
She will. I know. I've spoken
know
to her
her.
personally.
I wouldn't not believe that. That's the problem.
But anyway, from pop music royalty to real life royalty.
Correct. Mia Thermopolis, some may say.
Yes, the Princess of Genovia.
Princess of
Genovia. This was the Princess Diaries reference that I said we would be getting to, because we have a story out of Madison Square Garden from last week where Anne Hathaway herself had a near miss run in with a Knicks player in the stands. I mean, not even on the stands, right?
Right in the court.
Courtside, yeah.
Courtside, yep. In case you didn't see it, Knicks forward OG Anunoby dove into the stands for a loose ball and sent the popcorn of Anne Hathaway and her 8-year-old son flying.
Yeah, after the game, she went on Instagram and she like filmed this little video and she was like, I basically got run into last night at the Knicks game and that was a bucket list moment. Thanks, OG. What do you think? Do you think that was really a bucket list moment, or she's just like trying to play it cool?
I think she's trying to play it cool because as someone who lives on the sidelines, and it is quite literally my biggest fear ever turning my back to the sidelines to do anything. It's not a bucket list item.
Right.
I actually don't ever wish to be run over by a
He's like 7 feet tall, probably.
full blown grown man, professional athlete that is running at full speed. That is actually a disaster waiting to happen. So
It did look like a bucket list moment for her husband, though, I will say, because I don't know if you like watched the full clip of it happening, but like it happens. He like makes sure his son's okay, and then he like immediately looks up at OG and he's beaming.
kid in a candy shop.
He's like, "Hi, OG." Like,
Yeah. I mean, like, I have seen this one always makes me think of like the Laura Rutledge clip where she's about to give a report on the sideline for a college football game, and I think it was like a Georgia player fully tackles her because she has her back turned because she's about to give her a report, fully tackles her, and then she gets up like a champ and like totally brushes it off. But like, you're telling me that was a bucket list item for her? No, it was not. No, it was not.
it was kind of it's like, it reminds me of those moments when like, I feel like when I was a kid and I was playing soccer, I'd get hit.
Oh yeah.
You know, you get taken down, whatever. And you get up and your coach is like, are you okay? Are you okay? And you're just like tears streaming down your face. And you're like, yeah, I'm okay. Like that was the vibe that Anne was giving me.
She's a little oddball though.
She is.
right?
And you know, she kind of caught some flack, I feel like maybe 5-10 years ago. Like she's
Yeah.
definitely had a rebrand.
She definitely has.
Because
agreed.
5-10 years ago, I feel like people were like, she's too much of a theater kid. She's a little too earnest in her interviews, which of course, like people will shit on women for literally anything.
Literally
but
anything
I
and
could see
everything.
it. There's actually also like a month or two ago. Did you see that interview that went viral with
Yes.
her?
that was the same interviewer that also interviewed Blake Lively.
For It Ends With Us.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Kind
So-
of. Also an oddball, that interviewer.
I think maybe there was something with the interviewer there,
Yeah.
but again, neither here nor there. But it was just like weird interactions across the board. But yeah, she definitely did kind of get a little like ooh,
Yeah.
what was that? But that interview was from years ago because
It was like Les
Les
Mis.
Yeah.
That was like, I remember seeing that.
But yeah, I think she's just like very theatrical,
Yeah.
very expressive. That's just
absolutely.
her bread and butter, you know?
And you know what? She is the Princess of Genovia, so she can do whatever she wants.
Correct.
I guess she's a queen now, right?
Yeah.
She takes the throne. Well, it doesn't matter because I'm sure in Princess Diaries 3, which
we'll
will be
find
coming,
out.
we will find out.
Yep. Can't wait for that.
I know.
Okay, moving on with Playing Field, we have a look ahead to one of the biggest sporting events of this week coming Saturday. In case you missed it this past weekend, the Orlando Pride of the National Women's Soccer League punched their ticket to the most anticipated final in league history, where they'll take on the Washington Spirit. Blake, you watched the semis this past weekend. Give me the whole rundown because I am not as well versed in this as you are.
Okay. I mean, calling me well versed is very generous, Caroline. I did stream the Gotham game, the Gotham Spirit game.
Yes.
I guess, I mean, Gotham's home team, so I was like, I just want to focus in on one.
Yeah.
It was, so I'll start with that game, and then I'll talk about watching the highlights from the Pride Currents game. The Gotham game was kind of hard to watch, honestly, just because it was so tight, like defensively on both sides, that there was no scoring for, I feel like, majority of the first half. And then they went into OT, and then nothing happened in OT, and then they had to go to PKs, and I hate when they go to PKs.
I love PKs.
I know, it's just like so high stakes.
I was never a PK kicker when I played soccer because that was not my strong suit. I was a defender.
I was also a defender.
Oh my God.
I actually started out on offense, but then they moved me back to sweeper. I was the last line of defense.
Yeah, me too, girl.
Wait.
Threw my body on the line.
I did for my team. Put the team on my back. But oh God, the Gotham PKs were terrible. I hate to say it,
Was
but they were
this the
terrible.
game where one of the goalies saved every single PK?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gotham
I
didn't
saw
get
that
any
highlight.
of their penalty kicks, and
Yeah.
they were all. It was so odd. They were all kicking towards the same.
The exact same spot.
Yeah.
That's what I saw in the highlight. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, it was really difficult
Not
to
great.
watch. No, I know. It's for the home team. Come on.
I know.
I will say I didn't get to any regular season games, which is like, I don't know.
Next
I was pretty
season.
bummed about that.
We'll
But
go
yeah,
next season.
lots of excitement though for NWSL. I mean, like I said, the fact that they sold out that game was great. So the Pride Current game, I mean, you saw that goal by
Marta.
That
She
was
just like walked through people.
insane.
Crazy.
Well, she just was like in the right place at the right time.
Right,
she
right,
was
right.
like came in through midfield and then just fucking two defenders both down on their butts. Like
Yeah.
they thought they were gonna save it, and then she's like, nah, little tight footwork, and then the goalie also goes down, and then just boom right in, and
Yeah.
she just like the scream she scrumped after that goal.
Scrumped. Very.
She
love the
scrumped
vocab.
it. I mean, they deserved that win. That was a crazy.
Yeah,
game.
Marta versus Trinity Rodman. That will be a very exciting
Yeah,
matchup.
Yeah.
Because the Pride and the Spirit held the top two slots in the regular season standing. So it's going to be a matchup of the best of the best. Saturday's final will take place in Kansas City starting at 8 Eastern and can be watched on CBS and Paramount Plus. So
I will be tuned
I
in
will be tuning in as well.
early Saturday morning.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Also, finally, in case you missed it, downhill skiing legend Lindsey Vonn announced that she's actually coming out of retirement at the age of 40, 5 years after she stepped away from the sport.
Couldn't be me.
So reports say she's eyeing a return to the Olympics in 2026. I don't know. What do you think she's going to go? I mean, you don't come out of retirement to not go to the Olympics, right?
Of course, right. I mean, here's the thing. You can only do this once, right? You can only like
Come out of
retire
retirement.
and then
Yeah,
come out of
yeah, yeah,
retirement once. So you have to
Make it big.
You have to do something big. So if she doesn't make the Olympic team, that's going to be a big bummer. Will she make it? I'm not sure. 40 is just, it's a little on the
Yeah.
older side. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sean, cover your ears. It's on the older side, but I will say that.
Hey, Diana Taurasi
I was, yep.
took
I
the
will
words out of
say
her mouth.
Nothing is impossible, but literally could not be me. I was so excited to be done with
Sports.
athletics as soon as I possibly could. My body was falling apart, and I did it for like 4 years. So, kudos to her, I will say. Because
Yeah, I mean,
she like blew up her knee, and now she's on the
she's back.
comeback
She's
tour.
so back.
So back.
So we're exiting Playing the Field, and we're actually going to talk a little bit about the WNBA this week because there's just so much.
Yes.
There's like a couple of different stories we want to touch on. So let's start with some good news, which is that at least for one team, the Dallas Wings. So they won the WNBA's draft lottery on Sunday, which means that they're going to get the first pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And barring any surprises, they're probably going to get UConn's star player, Paige Buchers, who most analysts are calling a generational talent.
I mean, I'm not saying like Connecticut produces incredible athletes or anything, but like maybe they do. After the lottery results were announced, Wing star Arike Agumbawale tweeted out the perfect reaction saying, "I just fell to my knees. Thank you, Lord," which like
She needs that.
relatable.
Yeah, she needs that. The Wings were not doing very well last season.
So,
But did you also see the video of the Sparks? Like, it was, I love that they were like filming them thinking that they were going to get the first round pick and then they didn't.
yeah.
And it was funny seeing Cameron Brink react because she was number 2 pick last year.
Right.
And so the Sparks are going to get number 2 pick. And she's like, guys, it's
She's
okay to be
like-
number 2, right? Like, it's all right.
She was like,
That was me.
yeah, wait, were you guys not excited?
I'm her.
Were you not excited for me either?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cameron Brink, my girl crush, obsessed with her.
Mm-hmm.
She is so cool. But yeah, so we'll see where that ends.
Hopefully it'll be a good season for the Wings. But another news report indicates that further WNBA expansion may be on the horizon with high-profile names attached to an even higher price tag. According to an article from Essence, Celtics star Jason Tatum is interested in making a bid for a new WNBA team in St. Louis.
Changes to the WNBA's rules open the door for NBA player ownership. So Tatum is now attached to a group that's likely to bid upwards of $200 million on a new team, which is a huge increase from the $50 million Golden State paid to get the Valkyries franchise next season. What do you think this says generally about women's sports? I mean, obviously, particularly that WNBA.
I don't know, man. People just want a hand in the money pot. They also want a hand in the culture pot. Because let's be honest, like, especially, I feel like just looking at the NBA, I feel like there's a lot of cultural influence just like with celebrity. Like look, Anne Hathaway coming up to a freaking Knicks game in New York. Like, I think people want another reason to get involved in sports. And like the WNBA is that way. I also just think like, aside from the celebritydom, like the WNBA commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, she wants to expand the league to even more, I think like 16 teams by 2028, 15 teams by 2026. We're at 12 teams right now. That's like that's 3 additional teams. We're just on the upswing.
Yeah.
And we've known this for a while. It's just really exciting to see it come to fruition. And I think it's really cool that other athletes want to invest, and especially like
100%.
male athletes of the counterpart of the WNBA.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just have to like, it sums it up pretty well that like NBA stars want to get involved in like female sports because it's not just the WNBA. It's like there's a women's professional baseball league being created.
man.
Like all these things are being expanded. So the PWHL like is coming back for its second
Also, did you see
season
that
this year.
the 3v3 basketball league is starting, the women's basketball league, Unrivaled?
Oh, yes, I did.
That's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Like, there's just like more opportunities also for players to, like, they don't have to just like stick around for the regular season. Like,
Right.
now they can do this. They can do what Caitlin Clark is doing, playing a little
Exactly.
golf on the off
Yeah,
season.
exactly. Next thing you know, there's going to be a professional rowing league.
Oh my God, Caroline, we're gonna sign you up. You're gonna come out of retirement for that
Absolutely not. You could not give me enough money.
one. So just one more story, or second to last story about
Yeah.
the WNBA. We can't talk about it this week without mentioning reports of a new investigation into the Seattle Storm's coaching staff for alleged player mistreatment.
Yeah, details of the investigation remain undisclosed, but according to a Chicago Sun-Times report, a law firm was hired to investigate accusations of alleged harassment and bullying by the coaching staff for on-court performance.
Yeah, there's not that much to say about this right now. It's
Yeah.
just like to keep you in the loop in case
Yeah.
you missed it.
Put our ear to the ground.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted if we hear anything else.
Steph.
But very interesting to say the least. Okay, so for our final story in the world of women's basketball, we're turning our attention to college hoops, where TCU upset number 13 ranked NC State. Following the game, star player Haley Van Lith could be seen crying in her coach's arms. She accomplished the first double-double of her career with 18 points and 10 assists. Just as a fellow crier myself, I really appreciated that. It was very sweet.
It was so tender.
It was really cute.
I don't know the last time I felt so like proud of myself. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm looking for reasons. Maybe I need a skill set to develop first. That would probably be good. It was very tender, and her coach
Yeah.
was so supportive. He's
Oh
just
my
like,
God, he
I'm
was
so
cute.
like.
And he was like, "You're on the come up."
Yeah, he's like,
"I'm
"You're
so
just
proud of
getting
you."
started.
Yeah, there is actually no better feeling. Obviously, when your parents say they're proud of you, like that is glorious.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the last time my parents said they were proud of me. I will take it up with my therapist.
Yeah, that's definitely a topic that needs to be discussed. But when a coach says they're proud of you, that's that's like very close second.
Yeah,
it had me in my feels, reminiscing.
So we're continuing this episode of Well Played as we do every week this time of year with our roundup of all the NFL action you should be talking about or knowing about. It's time for Tuesday Morning Quarterback.
Yes, ma'am. The Chiefs finally came back down to earth this past Sunday with a loss to the Buffalo Bills, ending their 9-0 start to the season.
You could even call this the end of an era, much
I see
like
what you did there.
Where Taylor Swift's tours, her era's tours ending soon.
Nailed it. Maybe they're
in cahoots.
Mm-hmm. So while the 72 Dolphins were popping champagne, do you know about the 72 Dolphins?
No.
So the 72 Dolphins, 1972 Miami Dolphins team. They were undefeated in the regular season. They're the only team to have done that.
Wow.
Right? So every year when the last undefeated team loses and finally becomes defeated, they pop champagne. Iconic. It's very up your alley.
Okay.
Kind of petty. Like, yeah. So
that's good. That's a good trivia. I'm glad you stopped that in the tracks because I was just like, 72 Dolphins. Duh.
Obviously.
I just saw the number for,
I know you, girl. So while the 72 Dolphins were popping champagne, quarterbacks Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen embraced on the field where microphones overheard Mahomes saying, "We'll do it again, baby," to which Allen responded, "We'll see you guys soon."
So they're clearly two of the top teams in the league, and they have two of the best quarterbacks. Will they be seeing each other again?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, like it's inevitable. These teams are each other's like Achilles heels. They always play in the playoffs, and it's always good football. Like I was talking to Scott as we were watching this game, and I was like, I hope when we see them again, because it's inevitable, it's this close and it's this good of a game. It was chef's kiss. I loved it. It was just, there's something too about it being in Buffalo, because that crowd is electric. So,
I mean, when you got in Buffalo, New York, there's not much else to do. I think you gotta find something to channel your energy into.
No, and also their stadium, it's quite literally like in a neighborhood. It's like you go
what
like
do you mean?
house, stadium. Like it's same thing as like Green Bay. It's like house, stadium. And it's just like, oh, whoa. So it's literally in people's backyard.
Right.
So they go hard in Buffalo.
I also feel like last week was the week that I questioned. I was like, guys, like, when are the Chiefs going to lose? Isn't this like scary? I don't know. And then it happened.
Bills Mafia, baby. Do you think that you would ever dive into a table like the Bills Mafia do?
What do you mean?
Like, oh my God.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Like the people that like jump onto the folding tables. That's like Bills Mafia. That's what they call themselves.
I've seen that at a tailgate at Rutgers once. I actually have a recording of it. It wasn't me, but I felt like I was her because it felt like something I would do.
I was gonna say I feel like I could see you doing it.
I would.
Maybe we should get you to a Bills game.
I'll go to any game. Like if somebody wants to invite me to your hometown of Buffalo, Green Bay, anywhere, I would go to a game. I have not that many plans,
Looks at Fake Watch.
On a Sunday, sure, I would.
Why not?
Honestly.
Okay, also, while we're on the subject of the Chiefs, kicker Harrison Butker, who, had the loveliest graduation speech that I'm clearly a big fan of because I made a whole marathon sign about it. He is out for the season on IR with a meniscus injury. So he is not going to be missed by me. I don't ever hope for injury or root on injury, as you know.
But you're just not going to miss him.
But I'm not going to miss it, and maybe it's some good time to workshop some of his speeches. Okay, moving on. Meanwhile, in New York, the Giants have finally decided to move on from the high-priced quarterback Daniel Jones, whose poor performance this season has brought the team to 2-8. According to head coach Brian Daboll, Jones will be relegated to third string, which means we're unlikely to see him on the field again anytime soon, if at all. Let me tell you, part of the reason why they probably did this is because part of his contract is he has like a $23 million injury clause in it. So if he gets injured this year, they have to pay him $23 million next year.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
wait, but also how do you go from being the starting quarterback to third string?
the head coach goes, "Hey Blake, you're really not playing well. We don't want to spend $23 million on you if you're going to get injured. So we're actually not going to dress you for the rest of the season, and we're going to try to trade you or cut you or something at the end of the season."
Okay, understood.
Yes, sir.
It's crazy.
Yeah, tough.
How do you think he feels? Like, you think
Not-
he's embarrassed? Like,
I don't know. Probably not, because the Giants paid him in the offseason. So, like, I don't know. It's a mess over there.
I also, this is one season that I watched of
Hard Knocks.
Yeah. And so to me, he's just like this happy-go-lucky, like he just seemed like a nice guy,
Yeah,
but like maybe not cut out for football.
I think he is a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Who's to say? I just think there's a lot of having Hard Knocks on the Giants this offseason is tough because obviously the Saquon trade and then the Daniel Jones paying him. It's just not great.
It's messy.
Not great.
It's not great. So, but the real story everyone is talking about is how his replacement, his name is Tommy DeVito, aka Tommy Cutlets. He stepped in last season to much attention. He caught my attention.
Yes, he did.
Because he is from New Jersey, and he is the most like Italian-looking MFer I've ever seen in my life.
And
I feel
so is his agent.
Really?
Yeah.
He probably. Yeah, I could see that.
Like
I
fedora,
feel
it's-
fedora.
Yeah, I'll show you pictures.
Okay. He's not the most experienced or decorated QB around, from what I've
No.
heard. But he's going to play next week's Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys. And they have backup Cooper Rush starting. And so pundits are now tearing into this matchup as one of like the least exciting Thanksgiving games in history.
Yeah.
Which I guess people get really fired up over Thanksgiving football, right?
Right,
Just
because
like
I mean,
something
it's
on.
like notorious. You have the classic teams that always play on Thanksgiving, one of them being the Cowboys.
Right.
So obviously, and they're America's team. So obviously, people are very passionate about their Thanksgiving football traditions. This is just not going to be one of those games that everyone is glued to their TV for. But I would love to be wrong, and I would love for it to be an insanely great game. But after seeing Cooper Rush play last night against the Texans, I do not think it's going to be great.
One thing about Caroline, she loves to be proven wrong. So
yeah. Oh my God. Please
give us a
prove me
show.
wrong.
Give us a show, Giants.
Yeah. I would love for it to be great, but I don't know. Okay. Sunday Night Football delivered one of the best games of the weekend as the Chargers scored a go-ahead touchdown against the Bengals in the closing seconds, earning themselves a 34-27 victory. After the game, Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow did not sound happy.
Yes, he was asked whether or not this was the most disappointing season he's experienced, and he didn't really beat around the bush. He was very sharp, quick with his reaction. He said simply, yeah. And then when he was asked for a follow-up as to like why, and he said, it's pretty self-explanatory. This felt personal to me too because he is my quarterback on my fantasy team, which, yeah, I'm still keeping up with it. I change my lineup every week. He's on a bye week. I got to switch out.
There you go, girl.
You know, I'm on it. But yeah, I got to say, he sounded really sad. It was hard to watch even that 4-second clip that it was.
Yeah, it was tough.
Because this is not what you want to hear from your starting quarterback. But the Bengals are now 4-7, and Burrow even played well in this game with 356 passing yards
That's
on the day.
insane, and they still lost.
Yeah,
Like insane.
it just doesn't sound like he's been set up for success.
Yeah, no, not at all. Blake, let me set the scene for you. In 2024, who leads the league in passes completed? I'll give you a hint. Joe Burrow. Who leads the league in pass attempts?
Joe Burrow,
Correct. Who leads the league in passing yards?
JB,
Correct. Who leads the league in passing touchdowns?
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so like it's not him. He's playing well. And he has Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase is having a really good season as well. So like there is something else at play here. And I don't know why. I mean, their defense isn't as good as their offense. But like I don't know why some other changes maybe have not been made. It feels like there's a very long leash with the Bengals at the moment, which I feel like is typically not the case for teams that have very high standards and winning expectations. They'll just
So
like
is it
get
like
rid of a coach.
coaching? Yeah.
They'll get rid of a coach or they'll make some other change. Obviously, it's not the quarterback, so they're not going to like bench the quarterback.
Right.
But I don't know. It's not great, and I don't know what they're going to do. So very interesting to see.
This is just like sad news.
Yeah. And it was just sad to see him very sad.
Yeah.
Don't like that. All right, it's time for us to close out this episode of Well Played the way we do every week with a round of Send It. We're featuring 4 of our favorite viral moments from the week that you should be sending to all your group chats. So Blake, The floor is yours, my dear.
We're starting very wholesome. So I have the honor of sharing with you a very touching moment from this past Saturday in Boulder, Colorado. While the Buffaloes were winning their game over the Utah Utes, a very special fan experienced a touching moment. It was this woman, Peggy Copham's 100th birthday.
100.
Yes. She's a Colorado football super fan, and she's been attending games since the 1940s.
That's insane.
Well before any of us in this room were ever a thought.
Yep, correct.
So she was treated to a serenade of happy birthday by an entire stadium full of fans. And you can see her tearing up at the gesture. Also, first of all, like, I can't get my 84-year-old grandma to, like, go to the store with me. Mm-hmm. I cannot imagine the overstimulation of a football stadium, like, couldn't be my grandma.
Well, you know what my grandma does?
What?
Gosh, I hope she's not listening. She, when she's sick of us and sick of everyone around her, turns off the hearing aid. She's just like, I'm done here.
I want to be that unbothered.
She's almost 90 though, so girly can do whatever she wants.
Yeah,
she
also earned that right.
I mean, she gave birth to twins in the middle of the ocean, so she can quite literally do whatever she
right.
wants.
Coming from Italy.
Yes,
that
on a boat by herself at 23, and didn't know she was having twins. Yeah, in case you were wondering, my mom is a twin. So, my grandma's the coolest person on the face of the planet. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or
yeah, guys, the reason why I'm not having as strong as a reaction is because I've heard this story before, but like I hope that your jaw is probably dropped because
people probably don't believe me, which like I wouldn't believe me either.
I believe women. But anyway, yeah, sorry. So they sang her happy birthday. It was such a beautiful moment. Everyone
was really sweet.
So head coach Deion Sanders also struck up a friendship with her last season, and he promised her a bowl game this year. He better keep that birthday promise up.
If they go to a bowl game and Peggy's there, oh, God, it will make me so happy.
Yes. I have a question for you. Okay. What is something that you think you could, like, stand to attend until you're literally 100 years old? Or, like, do?
Not much. But I will say I could do one of two things. One of them is, like, obviously not hard when you're older. But, like, I love being in bed all day, obviously. So, like, I could 100% do that.
That doesn't count.
Easy, right? Yeah. I could... If I was given tickets to Michigan OSU every year, I would go.
That's a good one.
I'm a professional hater of OSU, and I would go. I am happy, proud. I know that they're much better than Michigan this year, so
it doesn't matter.
Thanksgiving's going to be a little rough. But you know, I even actually too, if it was rowing, I would go.
Oh,
yeah, because
Michigan OSU rowing.
Yeah, I would be a very big hater of OSU
vicious
rowing.
hater on the sideline. She'd be spitting.
Yeah, you would never see me so mean. I know, hard to believe. Okay, next up on Sunday, we're going to talk about the viral moment from College Game Day on ESPN this weekend. I freaking love College Game Day. Georgia fans gathered to watch one of their students try his hand, or should I say foot, at a chance for $800,000 Saturday afternoon. Henry Silver of Fishers, Indiana, was given one chance to make a 33-yard field goal, and he kicked a perfect kick, which would have been good from 45 yards, mind you. So on College Game Day, Pat McAfee does this thing where he gives like raffle tickets, I think, to the first 300 students to arrive. Then of those students, he picks a random raffle.
Wow. Great.
The one that he picked for this week was... like a girl, I think her name was Belle. I forget her last name. She was like, here's the thing. I'm not going to make it.
Right.
I want to like nominate this guy and we're going to split the winnings. So at first it was like only $150K. And then Pat McAfee was like, let's make it 200 so you can each have $100K. And then he bumped it up to $400K. And then he was like, screw it, $800K. And I was like, oh, casual. So Silver obviously makes the kick. He splits the $400K with Belle. Insane. Just being like, hey, mom and dad, I can pay for college and everything else. And then another $400K went to hurricane relief. So perhaps the best part was that obviously Pat McAfee's like commentating the whole thing as it happens. But there is like a profile picture. I think it's his Twitter account of the kid who made the kick. He grew up an Indianapolis Colts fan. Pat McAfee kicked for the Indianapolis Colts. His profile picture is a picture of him really, really young with McAfee on the Colts.
Oh, my God.
It's like, and then, like, McAfee tweeted it out being like, life is wild or something like that. But it's just like...
Full circle.
I love it.
Could you make the kick?
I have way too much confidence in my athletic ability, I will say yes every single time.
Okay.
I honestly think maybe we should try it.
Let's
go to a high school field and have me try it.
I would dead ass be so down.
Okay.
Okay. Hoboken one day.
I'll kick in these boots.
I want to try. Can I try?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay, so it's my turn to nominate another Send It. If you haven't already, you need to watch this clip of Louisiana University volleyball player senior Sienna DeCambra, who finished her career in the best way possible this week. So she was out for the season with an ACL injury, but during her senior night, her coach put her back in to serve for match point. And what do you know? What did she do? She did not fumble the bag. She nailed it. She served an ace to close out the game, and her teammates just like absolutely mobbed her. After the game, they were so happy. She was sobbing, and I should say it was like an appropriate mob because torn ACL. She got the cast on.
Right. Oh yeah, she had like full robo. leg.
Yeah. But it was so touching. I'm
really
so glad
sweet.
she got to end her career like that.
I know.
I mean, obviously not super ideal, but
Everyone who
ACL.
knows me knows that I would always say I'm very tall. I'm 5'11". But I always say if only I was a couple inches taller, because my dream was to go to a D1 school for volleyball as an outside hitter. I'm too short.
Which is so insane.
Which is hilarious because outside hitters are like giants. They're like 6'2" minimum.
That's not even that far away though.
I know,
I'm pissed.
Maybe if my hops were better, but apparently not. So obviously that was my dream. But I will say the one part of my game that always suffered, serving, got too much in my head. So I found it very impressive. Loved it for her and a great way to end her career. Okay, last one. This was crazy. The Purdue football team. Oh, man. So their paint job around the end zone, not doing them any favors this Saturday when they hosted number 4 ranked Penn State. Purdue sophomore wide receiver Denylon Morissette appeared, at least to himself, to secure a touchdown in the corner of the end zone, only to realize the black paint extending beyond the end zone where he was standing was well out of bounds.
Oh my God.
I do not know whose idea it was, whether it was the grounds crew, whether it was the school, whether it was definitely not the football team, because there's just no way that would have ever been
passed.
A suggestion by them. Why was the end zone the same color as right outside of the end zone? That's never a thing. It's literally not that way for a reason.
It's so odd.
I don't know why. I would love an explanation.
Somebody's going to get fired for that one.
Yeah, I mean, Purdue ended up losing 49-10, so it wasn't really like a
Not game changer.
deciding factor.
Right.
But yeah, it was tough.
That's
People
not
were going
right.
crazy on social about that one. So
I'd be so pissed. I mean, you could see him visibly like,
yeah, he like catches it, thinks he's good, and then literally sees the pylon in front of him, and he's like, oh, how'd that get there? So what's your send it for the week? Your favorite one?
I'm going to go with College Game Day.
Oh my God, we're again!
Ah!
Wow, that never happens. 2 for 2.
I know. I just think I like the idea of young people getting a somewhat life-changing amount of money. I think it's like life-changing for someone who's like 18, 19.
100%.
I mean, it would be life-changing for me even.
Yeah, it would be today.
Some people are like, 1 million's not enough. I'm like, are you kidding? I'll take like 10K.
I'll take $10.
Literally. Just because it was so fun and it was so exciting. And
I also think that Pat McAfee is so good at what he does. He's so genuine to like who he is. He has been such a good add to College Game Day. He got a lot of flack for just like being himself last season, and like all of the older, I would say, crowd of like the traditional, this is how College Game Day should be, this is how it is, whatever, hated him and like didn't necessarily want him back. He has been such a good ad because things like this come out of it. So it's like not only is he a great person, he's a great
also
commentator.
like he's just got like audience acquisition on the brain. He's like, who's my new audience? It's not these old heads.
No.
They're on their way out.
But he's just so genuine. Like
Yeah.
this was definitely just him being like,
This is a cool thing. Let's do it.
Yeah, because everyone thinks that they can kick it, like freaking Caroline Hendershot thinking that she can make a field goal because she's full of herself. But yeah, I just love it. And
love that we're in agreement to speak again.
Me too.
Maybe we'll go 3 for 3 next week. Who knows?
Oh, maybe. We'll have
TBD.
to see. All right. That's another week, another episode well played, presented by The Skim. It's in the books. Thank you all so much for listening to us yet again.
Yes, we'll be back in the studio next Tuesday with another episode of Well Played. Make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you're listening.
Yeah, Blake, where's everyone going to follow you?
For now, they're going to follow me at BLAAA4KSE. Still accepting username pitches in my DMs.
But
they are wide open.
actually DM her and pitch her a name.
Please.
Like,
my DMs have been dry the past couple of weeks. I'm looking for my reply guys. I'm looking for a steady source of reply guys.
she's openly saying that she's thirsty.
I'll say it. I don't care. You can also leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Just search up Well Played by The Skim, where we have full-length videos of today's episode and every episode. So just, search Well Played by The Skim on YouTube.
Yeah. Until next time, thanks for listening to Well Played.
The only podcast in a league of its own.